Hi, good evening, all of you. Hope you are able to get my voice clearly. Hope you are able to see the screen. Hope you are able to see me. Why I'm asking? Because I will go on continue with the discussion and you may face the problem. So that is the reason I am just asking. If everything is okay, I can start our today's training session on evaluation of elemental impurities in drugs and drug products, specifically in line with the exactly ICH Q3D R2. So you can send the message whether everything is okay, you are able to get my voice and everything is okay. You can send me the message so that I will come to know. By the meantime, I will start the initial discussion on this today's topic. Okay, so this is what the today's topic. Now the point is why we are discussing. I am always asking the people that which topic I need to discuss and all, and based on the your requirement I am conducting these free training sessions just for the sake of your understanding and your upgradations. Okay, so why we are discussing this? The reason is always remember that the patient safety is the almost utmost priority, and you will come to know that during so much of manufacturing some metal catalyst are used, or even during use of all the raw materials, packaging materials, even the container closure systems, or during the use of all the equipments, there may be possibility that the drugs and drug products which are being manufactured at the sites, they may be contaminated with some elements. Now some elements may be very highly toxic, some elements may be not that much of toxic. So that is the reason, considering the patient safety, we have to evaluate whatever the drugs or drug product are being manufactured at the site, whether they are complying with respect to the control on the elemental impurities or not, whether the elemental impurities are present in the product and whether they are under the control limit, that we have to evaluate. So that is the reason this topic is very important considering the current scenario. So let us start our today's discussion, and we will start with the agenda what we are going to discuss today. So meantime I will just check whether everything is okay or not. Okay, thank you KK, then Amos, Edekar, that everything is okay. Thank you for confirming the things. So now what we are going to discuss, please remember this training session you will never get, so please be attentive up to the end of the discussion, because this type of training you will never get anywhere else. Please remember this point. So, and again I am telling you, it is in line with the guideline. Okay, this is not from my point of view. Why we are discussing, again I am telling you while discussing on the this agenda, that most of the companies are getting the observation. Again remember, most of the companies are getting the observation that the equipment surfaces, see, mostly the equipments are used of make of what, SS316, right? Most of the manufacturing equipments are manufactured by using the material of construction is SS316, but the equipments are not the new one. The equipments, so many equipments are very old, and most of the equipments you will find the scratches on it. So as there are the scratches, that indicate that some elemental impurities are getting generated from that scratches, and it is contaminating your drugs or drug product. Please understand this thought by the inspectors nowadays. So that is the reason this evaluation is very important nowadays. And most of the you are now seeing the scenario of or trend of the inspectors nowadays. Most of the inspectors are giving this type of observation that there are the scratches on the equipments and all, equipment surfaces and all. So if there are the scratches, you need to not only work on removing of the scratches or upgrading the equipments and all, but at the same time you should work on what is its impact on the drugs and drug product which are being manufactured in that equipment. So this is the one of the evaluation of your product with respect to this scenario. Please remember this point. Okay, so what we are going to discuss today, So we discuss about the importance of topic, then we are discussing now the training agenda. Then there are a couple of slides by the Know Your Trainer. I'm just telling you that why these slides are important, why I'm putting some couple of slides as a CV of a trainer, because many companies consider this as an external training program. They attend this session and they record in their training record that yes, they attended this external training as per the link so and number so and so. So that is the reason they need to have a trainer CV. So with this training slides, I am sharing the trainer CV. Introduction to the ICH guidelines. Basically, this training session is on the basis of the ICH Q3D R2 guideline. So that is the reason some couple of slides are there which are related to the introduction to the ICH guideline. Then we will be briefly discussing upon the specific to this ICH Q3D R2 revision 2 revised guideline. As per that guideline, how the elements specifically which are impacting or which may have potential impact on the person or patient safety. So these elements, how they are considered, that we will be discussing. Then how this guideline classifies these elements with respect to the considering the impurities in the product, that we will be discussing. And as a practical approach, how we can evaluate it, what is the role of risk assessment and controlling these elemental impurities. Then we have to evaluate what are the potential sources of elemental impurities in our drugs and drug product. That is all we have to discuss today. And then finally, how we can evaluate this final evaluation we will be discussing. Followed by there is a YouTube membership program. So that one slide is there about the YouTube membership program, and of course vote of thanks and sharing the contact details. So if you are interested in some on-site training program at your site, definitely you can connect me and I can conduct the training session at your site, okay, in more detail. So this is the brief about today's training session, and let us start our discussion with respect to the training Know Your Trainer. I will not put more time in the Know Your Trainer or the trainer's introduction and all. My name is Hitendra Kumar Shah. I am a CGMP compliance consultant, trainer and auditor from NADH plus GXP compliance services. This is my brief CV. Okay. The second slide I am just sharing you. I have audited till date more than 500 sites. Since last 13 years I am in auditing role, maybe 13 or 14 years I am in auditing role, and every year every month I am conducting about 5 to 6 audits. So you can just consider that maybe more than 500 sites I have audited. And about training, I mentioned here more than 3,000 candidates, but I think the number maybe now is more than 10,000 participants. So many participants I have trained, or candidates I have trained more than 10,000. Okay. And I am having expertise in different regulatory expectations like US FDA, NVISA, MHRA, UGMP, and so many other regulatory agencies. This is the brief about my CV. If you are interested, you can pause this learning and you can go through that. Even after the training session also, you can go through the session by using the same link. These are the companies where I work. My major work experience, I started my career with Sun Pharma, then Blue Cross Laboratories, Alembic, Mylan, and multinationals like Mylan, Sanofi. Now Mylan means it is now Viatris, and AstraZeneca. These are some of the companies. Zydus Cadila, US Vitamins, where I work, and since last 6.5 years I am independent compliance consultant from NADH plus GXP compliance services. And our organization NADH plus GXP compliance services is a registered organization under the government of India under this number. So government of India has issued a unique number to our organization, so it is a registered organization. That is what I just want to share you. Additionally, myself, Hitendra Kumar Shah, I am the approved trainer by the government of India, and the unique trainer number or trainer ID is given. This is the number you can see from the slide. This is the trainer's ID. So if you are the member of a CGMP or advanced GMP, then you will get a monthly one certification from our NADH GXP compliance services, and where you will find this number also, which is issued by the government of India on the certificate. This is a part of a disclaimer that please understand this, that consider this a training session as a the learning purpose only. Okay, because practical, when you want to evaluate, no, you cannot directly go ahead and practically implement by just referring this. Why I'm discussing this? Because you may have some multiple controls at your end, or you may not have even not a single control at your end, I don't know. So practical implementation will be from company to company, it will vary. But yes, this will definitely help you to understand and learn how to evaluate the elemental impurities in your organization. And of course, you have to refer the current guideline, because now today this is the current guideline what I am referring. But tomorrow the guideline maybe go and revise to the version R3, revise 3 suppose. So you need to refer the current guideline before implementation. So let us start our today's training session on the evaluation of drugs and drug products for the elemental impurities in line with the ICH Q3D guideline. So the point is here, you can see basically this is the novelty of our ICH guideline, novelty of the ICH guideline, that this ICH guideline is developed by the expert working group, where expert working group is formed with the help of the industry experts and as well as the different regulatory agencies. So all the representatives from the regulatory agencies and experts from the industry come together and they form this guideline. So there are 4 types of guideline under ICH: quality, safety, efficacy and multidisciplinary, and we will be focusing more on the quality guideline. So I am just quickly going. Okay, so there are total 14 ICH quality guideline, Q1 to Q14, and today we will be discussing on Q3, that is the impurities. So if you see in Q3, there are Q3A, B, C, so D, so many guidelines are there. So basically Q3 guideline, ICH Q3 guideline is with respect to the impurities, and out of that ICH Q3 impurities, we will be discussing today with respect to the ICH Q3D guideline. D guideline and version 2, that is a revision 2, R2. It is related to the elemental impurities. So these are this guideline we will be discussing today. Hope it is clear to all of you, and now let us start our actual discussion about the guideline requirements of the ICH Q3D R2, which is for the elemental impurities. Very simple topic, no much problem with respect to understanding and all, very simple topic, and I will try to make it even more simple way to understand easily. Even I try to put in the presentation in a very simple language. So if you need a presentation, please put your comment in the chat box that you need a presentation copy, so that I will share the link, so and you will able to download from the presentation. Please remember this, because what happened now, after this session, if somebody is asking me the presentation copy and all, I may not able to share you the presentation, to be very frank. So if you are connected online, then only I will able to share the link in the chat box, and from the link you can download the training presentation. Hope it is clear to all of you, my dear friend. So simple information I just want to share with respect to the introduction about this guideline, that elemental impurities in drug products may arise from so many the sources, and basically they may be considered or may be present in the impurities which may be added intentionally or unintentionally. Intentionally, how they are added? Maybe they are added as a part of the catalyst and all, or they may be added in the product unintentionally, maybe due to some interaction or reaction with the container closure system, or from the equipment it may get leach out. So many possibilities are there, and basically what happened, there is no therapeutic benefit of these elements in the human body. So what happened? They are considered as a contaminant. They may have, even on the contrary, they may have the adverse effect on the human body. So that is the reason the level of this drug product should be controlled within the acceptable limit of these elemental impurities. And that is the reason we are here to discuss about these requirements. My dear friend, remember one point, very important point. Whatever we are discussing, it is with respect to the patient safety. Okay, that is what I just want to focus. And also, if you are interested in the training presentation, please put the comment, so I will share the training presentation in the chat box only. So after this session I will not able to share it, please. So how you can evaluate the product for elemental impurities? That is what the question, right? And for that purpose only we are here to discuss now. If you are feeling that I am somewhat fast, what you can do, you can reduce the speed. You can go in the this one YouTube, and you can reduce the speed to 0.75, so that you will get the clear speech if you feel that I am very fast. Otherwise it is okay. So when we want to implement this, very simple is, there are three parts of the, basically these three parts of the guideline. First is evaluation of the toxicity data for potential elemental impurities. So first is what? Evaluation of a toxicity data of the elemental impurity, which is a potential to be present in the product. Second is to establish the permitted daily exposure of each element. That is the base of the toxicological evaluation, right? You may be aware about this concept, permitted daily exposure. And third is a risk-based approach need to be followed. And then based on that, you need to put some control mechanism, so that you will able to control the elemental impurities in your drug products. And same you can follow for the drugs also, or API also. So these are the three basic parts of this guideline. So don't worry, I am here to discuss and in a detail. Okay. So basically this table is given by the guideline. So I directly took the table and put here. What happened? From this I just want to make you aware one point, that if you go through the periodic table, if you remember my first slide, where I share the introduction of that and all, a complete periodic table is pasted, right? If you go through that periodic table, you will come to know there are so many elements, but we are more focused on only these elements which are in the table. Now these elements are classified in the different type of classes, and also which element we should focus, it should be based on the different type of a dosage unit. Some elements are focused irrespective of any dosage unit, like oral or parenteral or inhalation products. Some elements are more specific with respect to only parenteral and inhalation products, and not with respect to the oral. So if any element is present in the oral category products, then it can be allowed, but it will not be allowed. Some elements may not be allowed if they are in a parenteral and inhalation product. Why? Because in OSD product, the limit of that elements may be more than 500 micrograms. So that much of high permitted daily exposure is there. So that is the reason this table is given by the guideline, and all the elements are there. You can see here the elements and the class, and followed by whether it is intentionally added, yes or no, and then whether it is what type of products we need to consider. If I am my company is manufacturing the oral solid dosage form, then which elements I have to consider. And if my company is manufacturing parenterals and inhalation products, so which elements I have to consider. Simple one slide is easy to understand for this guideline. Okay, don't worry, I am here to discuss and explain all the things, but I am just making you aware. So now what happened, This guideline classified these all the elements what we saw, which are prone to impact on the patient safety. So these elements are considered by the ICH guideline. So in that also what they they categorize these elements in class 1, class 2 and class 3. So these are categorization based on the toxicity of the elements basically. Okay, so based on the toxicity, these classes are designed: class 1, class 2 and class 3. So what is meant by class 1? The elements like arsenic, cadmium, mercury and lead, these are the heavy metals, right, are very high human toxicants. So whatever you manufacture the product, whether it is a OSD or any type of product, these elements should never be in the product, because these are very toxic to the human body: arsenic, cadmium, mercury and lead. Correct? Very simple. So these are the 4 which are under class 1. Very clear, no any second thought. So this is what it is mentioned, that their presence in the drug product typically comes from the commonly used material which are from the mining or some excipients. So some excipients are from the mining, like calcium base and all, they are taken from the soil and all. So in that, this type of heavy metals, you can say, or class 1 metals, metallic impurities can be or elemental impurities can be present. So if it is there, then you should have mechanism to control these impurities, elemental impurities. Very clear. At any cost, these 4 elements should be focused on priority and should be taken care, should be removed from the drug and drug product, because their unique nature. These 4 elements require evaluation during risk assessment across all potential sources of the elemental impurities and routes of administration. So my dear friend, whenever you are, any product you are manufacturing, whether it is the OSD or injectable or whatever, and if you are doing the assessment for elemental impurities, you have to put a focus on assessing these all 4 elements. Very clear. And if you come to know that there is a potential risk of contamination of these 4 elements, then you have to take action. But does it mean that you have to test all the materials for these 4 elements? No. That is the reason I put purposely in the bold. It is not expected that all components will require testing for class 1 elemental impurities. Very clear, given by the guideline. You have to evaluate first, and then if you come to know कि yes, these 4 elements or any element to contaminate your product, there is a possibility to contaminate your product, then only you can take a decision of testing and evaluating or ensuring that your product is safe. But if there is no any possibility at all to contaminate your product with these class 1 elements, then it is not required to test these elemental impurities. Very clear, right? You can go through the slide in detail, but this is what the message from this slide. Hope it's with me and you understanding the point. If you have any questions, you put your questions in the chat box. I will respond to your questions. Okay. So this was I was discussing about the class 1. Now class 2 impurities are again categorized under 2A and 2B. So 2A category is somewhat high probability of occurrence in the drug product, while 2B elements are having some low probability of possibility in the drug product. So if you go through the class 1, then class 2A, class 2B, then class 3 and other impurities, you will come to know that from class 1 to the going to the next classes, the toxicity, you can say the toxicity is going low and low and low. So based on the toxicity, this categorization is there. So class 2 elements are what? These are like cobalt, nickel, vanadium, these are the class 2A elements. Please understand this. I'm just making you aware, and how we can do it with respect to the risk management, that also we are going to discuss today. Class 2B, again, these elements are having a low probability of occurrence in the drug product. So what are these elements? These are the elements, silver, gold, IR, OS, PD, PT, RH, RU, SE and TL. So these are the elements which are under the class 2B. So what is the difference in class 2A and 2B? Class 2A is somewhat the higher probability of occurrence in the drug product, while class 2B elements are the elements with the reduced probability or the low probability of occurrence in your drug product. So now when you want to evaluate this, both the 2A and 2B, so they may be excluded from the risk assessment unless they are intentionally added during the manufacture of a drug substance, excipient or a drug product. So when you will do the risk assessment, and if these elements are not added as a material, then these elements need not be evaluated. Very simple. But if you want to go to 2A, again let us go to a 2A. So if we discuss about a 2A, it is having a high probability, correct? High probability of occurrence. So when you will perform the risk assessment, you have to consider all the possibilities of contaminating your product with these three elements. You got my point? So in short, what you have to do when you will perform the evaluation? First of all, class 1 elements you have to consider and class 2A elements you have to consider, irrespective of whether it is intentionally added or intentionally not added. Possibility is there. This 2A and class 1A, you have to consider all the elements. While in the 2B, class 2B, you have to evaluate, is there any possibility whether you are adding this intentionally. If you are not adding these elements intentionally, then you need not evaluate in your product. So this is the class 2B. You got the difference? Now, what is the class 3 now? So now this class 3, basically these elements are very, very low toxic. So if they are from the oral route, now here you can see irrespective, now here you can see that with respect to the route of administration, you need to evaluate, because the permitted daily exposure of this class 3 elements is more than 500 microgram per day. More than 500 microgram per day. So as it is a more than 500 microgram, and if it is a OSD product, oral dosage form, it is not required to evaluate. But yes, you have to consider these class 3 elements if you are manufacturing the inhalation product or parenteral products. You got my point? Hope it is clear and everybody is with me. So here class 3, again I am telling you, the toxicity is very, very low. So if you are evaluating for the OSD product, you need not bother about the class 3 elements. But if you are manufacturing the parenteral products and inhalation product, definitely you have to consider these class 3 elements. Right? So for parenteral and inhalation product, the potential for inclusion of these elemental impurities should be evaluated during the risk assessment. So which are these elements? These are the barium, chromium, copper, and other elements are there, lithium and molybdenum and SH and SN. Sorry, I to be very frank, I don't know the name of all the elements, to be very frank. It is very simple. You can Google it, you will get it, that one. Okay. So I am here to make you only clear about this, the elements. Some elements, of course, I know, but some elements I am not aware the names of the elements. But don't worry, the information is correct as per the guideline which is available in today. Okay. So when you are manufacturing the parenteral annihilation product, you have to consider these elements. You have to identify the potential possibilities of introduction in your product with respect to these elements in your product, and then you need to put the control mechanism how to control these elemental impurities that you have to consider. Okay, hope it is clear. Now there are some other elements. These elemental impurities for which PDE is even not established due to their very low inherent toxicity, and also the differences in the different some regional regulations. So what happened? These elements are considered as the other elements. If these elemental impurities are present or included in the drug product, they are addressed by other guideline and or regional regulations and practice. Means what? If these impurities are added as a intentionally added, like as a catalyst and all, then it has to be addressed. For example, like if you are adding aluminum, so aluminum as a catalyst, so there may be possibility that some elemental impurities may contaminate the product. So, and you know that aluminum is impacting, or it will lead to the renal failure and all. Even the manganese and zinc for patients with compromised hepatic function, so they may impact on the patient with the hepatic function issues and all. So this type of element you have to address separately if you are adding so in the product. So these are the elements which are considered in the considered as the other elements. So basically you have to focus on category 1, then 2A, 2B and the other elements. Means category 3 types normal. Okay. So now the point is it required to then test all the elements? Already I explained you even in the class 1 also. Remember that it is not required to test all the elements for the materials or the products. So how you can evaluate? You can make a use of risk assessment. Hope you remember our last session about the risk assessment. Same type of risk methodology you can perform to evaluate the potential risk with respect to the elemental impurities. It is not required or mandatory to have a formal FMEL, so you can have some other tools also you can make a use. Okay, so you can make a use of risk management, but remember that when you will perform the risk management, it should be based on the scientific knowledge, principles, and should be linked to the patient safety. Okay, so risk management should not justify the your product, that your product is safe, or risk management is not the purpose of the risk management should not be used. Risk management tool should not be used to justify that why you are not testing. Actually you have to perform the risk management, and based on that you evaluate whether there is a potential risk with respect to these elemental impurities or not, and then put the mitigation plan. How you can, then mitigation plan will be in 2 ways. Remember, the mitigation plan will be in 2 ways. One way is how you can control the impurity in your product, and second, how you can ensure that the impurity is controlled, means by testing. So 2 ways I am telling, not only 1 way. Many companies, what happen, they just test the product and they prove that the elemental impurities are not there. This is not the case. You understood the point? And the third point is, in case elemental impurities, the product risk assessment would therefore be focused on assessing the level of elemental impurities in a drug product. So you have to evaluate the permitted daily exposure of that elemental impurities, and based on that you have to test the product. Hope everybody is clear and everybody is with me, and I am not so fast, right? right? My dear friends, hope you are clear with this, right? If you need a training presentation, please put your comment in the session now only. So today is 20th of July, so I will be sharing the training presentation now only. After that, if somebody is going through the recorded session, that person will not get a training presentation copy. Please try to understand. So when you are doing the risk assessment, please try to understand, please try to include that data generated by the applicant means what? Manufacturer, product manufacturer, and information applied by the or excipient manufacturers and the data available in the published literature. So when you are performing the risk management, you have to generate the data. You means manufacturer, and also you have to get the information from all the different material manufacturers like a drug substance manufacturer, excipient manufacturer, then a packaging material manufacturer. You should get the data to support this evaluation. Simple topic is there, no need to make confused and all. Okay, the manufacturer should document the risk assessment and control approaches in an appropriate manner. You have to document and then control. Control word is very important, but I am finding that the actions to control are lacking in many companies. They just test the elemental impurities and they prove. Try to understand this point. Okay, the level of effort and formality of the risk assessment should be proportional to the level of risk. It is neither, please remember this bold statement. I told you that when I am putting the bold statement, it is having some meaning. It is neither always appropriate nor always necessary to use a formal risk management process. Means what? Like suppose if I am performing the risk management of one product, so it is not the good practice that I will just make a save as of one product and I will prepare the risk management of the second product, copy and paste. It is not the correct way, because what happens when you are manufacturing the second product, there may be possibility that some other equipments which is having the other material of constructions may be used, or some other material of construction may be in contact with the product, or the excipients may be different, or the materials, input materials may be different, or the manufacturer may be different, packaging may be different. So it may not be the same for all. That is what the clear-cut meaning. Whenever I am auditing the elemental impurities risk assessment, I am just checking the 3-4 products at a time. I put the 3-4 risk assessment on table and I am just checking whether it is copy and paste. It clearly, you can see the number of pages, then identified risk, everything will be copy and paste. It indicates that you have not done the proper risk management for each product separately. You got my point? That is the reason I mentioned this point in a bold. So basically there are 3 steps of a risk assessment and control of elemental impurities. So what are the 3 steps? The first step is identify known and potential sources of elemental impurities that may find their way into the drug product. So what are the possibility of elemental impurities in your product? Maybe intentionally added or unintentionally added. What are the possibilities? What are the source of elemental impurities in your product? That first you have to identify. Then once you identify, then go to second step. Evaluate the presence of a particular elemental impurities in the drug product by determining the observed or predicted level of the impurity and comparing with the established PDE. Okay, then once you come to know, yes, out of these so many elemental impurities, some elemental impurities may be in your product, then you have to determine these elemental impurities, that whether it is within the established permitted daily exposure level or it is more than that. And the third is summarize and document the risk assessment. Identify if controls which are developed or built into the process are sufficient, or identify additional controls so that you can control the elemental impurities in the drug product. You got my point? So these are the 3 steps of a risk management and control of elemental impurities in your drug product. So first is what I told you, identify the sources, potential sources of elemental impurities due to which your product is getting contaminated. Then once you identify that, you evaluate that and you check it whether the concentration is within the permitted daily exposure or above the permitted daily exposure. And then once you evaluate that, then you prepare a formal document and summarize it. And if there are some elemental impurities are there, they are still within the permitted daily exposure level, still you can put some control mechanism to further reduce the elemental impurities in the drug product. You got my point? The risk assessment can be facilitated with information about, yes, message is very clear from the slide, simple language. So when you will perform the risk management, you have to consider the information provided by the suppliers of a drug substances, excipients, container closure system, and the manufacturing equipment. Everything you have to consider when you will perform the risk assessment. Very simple message, very simple topic. Okay. So what are the potential sources of elemental impurities now? What are the potential sources? Yes. So when we are discussing about the potential sources, what is meant by potential sources? Potential means possibility from which your product is getting contaminated with the elemental impurities. Possibility. So where are the possibilities? So the people who are attending, please, and going through this session, please hit the like button so that YouTube will use this for good sake of this video. Okay, so please hit the like button. Thank you. So what I was telling you, actually, while discussing, I just diverted from this potential sources. Yeah. What are the potential sources? First, you have to identify that the impurities resulting from intentionally added, just now I discussed that as a catalyst and all in the drugs and drug product. Then you have to address that impurities, correct? Second is what? Which are not intentionally added, but potentially maybe in the drug substance, maybe water, maybe excipients used in the preparation of a drug products. Due to that, your product may getting contaminated with the elemental impurities. My dear friend, remember, water is also the source, potential source for elemental impurities. Many people forget this potential source. You will say I am purifying and all, but my dear friend, if you are purifying, whether the elemental impurities are removed, that you have to evaluate. Third point, elemental impurities that are potentially introduced into the drug substance and or drug product from manufacturing equipments. So just now I gave you example that if your manufacturing equipment is a SS316 and most of the manufacturing equipment which are the old, you will find there are some scratches. So remember, if there are the scratches, definitely some elemental impurities are contaminating from getting contaminated. Your product is getting contaminated with some elemental impurities from the that SS316 manufacturer MOC SS316 equipment which is having the scratches. Again I am telling the same statement. If your manufacturing equipment is having the scratches, then from the scratches there is a possibility of leaching of some elemental impurities in your drug product and can contaminate your product. So again remember, many companies received the 483 observation with respect to this point. Fourth point, elemental impurities that have the potential to be leached into the drug substance and drug product from container closure systems. See, normally what happen, you know now the drugs of when if you are using some packaging, so normally packaging is normally of aluminum. Again, the aluminum is a toxic, it impacts on the renal failure. So sometime what happen, the packaging, I am just giving an example, so you have to evaluate that the container closure system means whatever packaging I am using, whether that packaging is having some potential to leach the element in the product and leading to the contamination of your product. Some see the API or some excipients, they are stored in the polybag. There may be possibility that some chemicals or the some elements may be leached from that polybag. I have seen in some companies that polybag is used for store of isopropyl alcohol or other solvents also. My dear friends, if you are using for storage of a polybag for the solvents and all, remember that there is definitely possibility of leaching of some chemicals from the polybag into the product. So these are also the potential sources of metal impurities which can cause the contamination of your product. So this slide, this you know, right? This is a fishbone diagram where you can consider the manufacturing equipment, drug substance, excipient, container closure system, water, and these are all possibilities can lead to the contamination of your product by the elemental impurities. And these are the elemental impurities you have to consider. So the red and the first orange part is a class 1A, red is a class 1 and orange is a class 2A, yellow is a 2B, class 2B, and the next is other elements. So these elements you have to consider when you will perform the assessment of your product for the elemental impurities. Hope you are getting my point, right? So then how you will do the evaluation? So when you will evaluate this, there are two possibilities, right? One is the risk assessment process does not identify any potential elemental impurities. So when you will perform the risk management, you come to know that there is no possibility of any elemental impurities which are under the respective classes, right? And considering your route of administration, there is no possibility of contamination of your product with these impurities. When you evaluate this, then the conclusion of the risk assessment and supporting information and data should be documented. But remember, when you will perform the risk management and you make a conclusion based on the now this first stage, whatever I have displayed here, then please review it multiple times that whether you miss some potential sources or not. So this risk management need to be reviewed by multiple experts and all. If you are making this statement that there is no potential elemental impurities in your product, so then you have to evaluate properly. You have to involve the multiple experts so that your assessment is perfect. And second is what? The risk assessment process is identified that some elemental impurities may be possible in your product. So if you identify based on the risk-based approach that yes, there may be possibility that some elemental impurities may present in your product, then based on that, what happened? You have to test that elemental impurities and evaluate whether they are within the limit or not, and then you can make a conclusion by recording all the things that whether it is within the limit, whether the patient safety is not compromised, and you ensure the quality of the product that you can put in the evaluation. Hope this way you are clear which topic, right? It topic is very clear. So I just want to share the information that the YouTube has created the YouTube membership program. How you can join this YouTube membership program? This is what it explained here. I have categorized the members, three categories of the memberships: GMP, CGMP, and Advanced GMP. So what are the benefits? That benefits are present in the YouTube also. And how you can join? You can join by following this process. You can click the join button and you will you can go through the all the three membership programs, and whichever is suitable for you, you can enroll that. Second thing, the link is also in the description section. So if you go to the description section, the link is there. From that also you can join this YouTube membership program. Okay, so there are so many benefits are there if you are if you want to go in your career and all. So definitely it will be helpful to all of you. So thank you so much for your kind presence and kind attendance. These are my contact details. So you can definitely contact for your any third party audits, training, consultancy, or any type of services. We are happy to serve you. Okay, so let us start with some questions. Miss, I will just clarify your questions. Tirupati Babu is asking, hello sir, please plan for nitrosamine impurities. Also like this same session. Sure, I will work on this, and I will share the, I will start working on that, no problem. Okay, please share the presentation. Yeah, sure, I will share the presentation. Just a minute. I will just go through the question. What is the limit of iron in API? Okay, see, you can go through the guideline. There are the PDE calculations are there, Mr. Mukesh Kumar Bhati. So, and you can come to know that what is the limit of iron in the iron only, no, because I am not able to read it properly. Iron only, iron, yeah. And you will come to know that what is the limit. Okay, because it depends on different type of dosage units and all. So I will share you the now link. From the link you can download the training presentation. Just a minute. Link to download the presentation. See, I have shared the link. Please download it immediately because it will expire in some days. Okay. Dear sir, the next question is, dear sir, does it necessary to perform periodically, because in new facility or equipment no scratches, however over the time scratches on the equipment, product, contact surfaces may get increases? Of course, my dear friend, periodically you have to evaluate. Second thing, not only with respect to the equipment, but when you come to know now that there are lot of materials you are getting from outside, so definitely there also will be variability in will be more at the vendor end also. So periodically you should get the declaration from the vendor also. Periodically you have to evaluate at your end with respect to equipment. Third thing, you have to consider the water also, because most of the companies, the water is taken from the underground source. Even some company, they are getting the water from the government water supply, but in that also they are getting from the open source like river or the open available source of water is used. So definitely there may be possibility of the elemental impurities contamination in the water. So that also you have to consider. Can we evaluate the elemental impurities at the commercial batches or in a clinical batches? My dear friend, remember that when we are discussing about these elemental impurities, it is with respect to the patient safety. So the point is, when you are manufacturing the clinical batches, that product also will be consumed by the patient. Only the purpose here is you want to study under the clinical batches, right? However, the difference, whether it is a commercial batch or clinical batch, the product will be consumed by the person or patient. So definitely, irrespective of the clinical batch or the commercial batch, you have to perform the elemental impurities risk management and evaluation in line with the ICH Q3D guideline. Okay. Sir, please give the training on utility qualification. Okay, sure. I will try to work on that. Okay. So I think now all the questions are clear. I think Mukesh Kumar Bhatti is asking if API dose for 15 and not milligram, then limit of iron. So I suggest you can go through in detail about the guideline and all. You will get definitely what type of, because it depends on the dosage unit and all, and also different toxicity evaluation is required with respect to the iron. You will definitely get the answer, Mr. Mukesh Kumar, because what happened, each element will have a different permitted only exposure, and that permitted only exposure not only with respect to the specific molecule but also with respect to the specific dosage unit, whether it is the OSD, whether it is injectable, whether it is a inhalation, so many aspects are there, so many parameters are there. Even the infant dose or the adult dose, so many points need to be considered when we are discussing about the permitted daily exposure. These are all is given in the guideline. You can go through in detail. You will definitely get the information. Okay. Okay, I think the time is we are approaching to the closing the time now. There are no any questions, and already I have shared the training presentations. So of course, then who the person who are the member of a CGMP and advanced GMP members, they can contact me personally through WhatsApp or email, and so that I can share them the training presentation on the today's this topic. Okay. Thank you so much. Now I think there are no any questions, so I think we can close this today's session. Thank you so much, and ensure all time compliance. Thank you so much. Now I am closing the this stream. So, but my point is, please download the training presentation as early as possible. Thank you so much.